two words which symbolize the life and times of Kanspal, the channel of information about and engagement with Utmal and later L&T, the substance of imagination and dreams of many, Kanspal Khabar, ably steered by a deaf professional in the 70s, 80s and 90s. Welcome to another episode of Kanspal Radio. I am your host, Anupam Ganguly. And our guest today is Mr. L X Swami. You might remember him as the chronicler involved in reporting for and publishing Utmal L&T's in-house journal Kanspal Khabar across 3 decades. Ironically, I am conversing with the very person who has conversed with not only hundreds of our workforce in his Meet Your Colleague column, but also sketched biographies of directors, MDs, GMs, engineers, and many a popular visitor to Kanspal, such as the flutist Hari Prasad Chaurasia, bhajanist Purushottam Das Jalota, and Shehnai Maestro Ustad Bismillah Khan. He used to also pen a regular children's column, Pal's Corner, under the pseudonym Auntie Rosie. His better half, Mrs. Swami, was a well-respected and popular person by virtue of her being a senior teacher at the Montfort School during the 80s and 90s. Please tell us the mental picture of Kanspal you carry today after exiting the township nearly a quarter century ago.
Whenever I think of Kanspal, it reminds me of an oasis in the wilderness.
Wonderful.
Yes, an aesthetically conceived and well-appointed township with clean air and tasty potable water always there on tap. The name itself is derived from the Kans flower to be found in profusion, crowning the tall grass growing wildly in Kanspal's rolling plains. My memory also goes back to the pictures, flower and kitchen gardens maintained by almost all households. The green carpet lawns adorning our offices, bungalows and guest houses, as well as the rookery nooks, the sylvan bars, the trees, plants and the greenery everywhere. It leaves me wondering whether that was indeed the Indian soil or an alien planet that I lived in. I may not have appreciated Kanspal when I was residing there as much as I do today. Hindsight makes me declare, इस धरती पे जन्नत हो तो यही है.
Absolutely true. Absolutely true. That was quite a nostalgic trip down memory lane. Can you please throw light on your beginnings in Kanspal?
Sure. I had a checkered career to start with. Armed with a BSc from Bombay University, I had been an English teacher, a traveling medical representative, and a government-approved tourist guide showing English and French-speaking tourists around Bombay city and suburbs.
Quite interesting.
Well, then I had dabbled in law school for a while and thereafter completed my PG diploma in mass communications from St. Xavier's College. Most importantly, I had gone through my salad days in journalism. Lastly, I put in 4 years as a full-time sub-editor with the Indian Express newspapers in Bombay, when I happened to see an attractively worded L&T advertisement for a position in the house magazine department at L&T's heavy engineering factory at Kansbal in Orissa. The advertisement offered all the regular perks, including subsidized housing in the Utmal township. So there, following the due recruitment process at L&T House, Bombay, I was dispatched to Utmal in October 1973 as a journalist and an associate to Captain K.K. Vaidya, who was the editor of the company's and township's unique news magazine, Kansbal Khabar. Captain Vaidya's benign nature and his military officers' disciplined life earned him the respect of the local populace. He was elder than I by almost a decade and looked upon me as his protege from the very outset.
So we never knew he had an army background.
Yeah, he has an army background, no doubt. That's why he's called captain.
Yeah, obviously.
So he doesn't like to use it because there's something about it, but he always prefers to be addressed as Mr. He was older than I, as I told you, and then came my initial lodgings. My initial lodgings were a shared accommodation with another tech bachelor, Mr. R.P. Chengappa. He too was a popular figure in the township because he was a photographer heading the photo unit, which was attached to the house magazine department, and he was also a very cheerful person. Three of us got along very well as a team. In 1980, Mr. S.B. Sahu joined the photo unit, even as Mr. Chengappa bid farewell to Kansbal. Over to you.
Can we go ahead to family, please?
Sure. But first, I'd like to explain how Kansbal has served as a growth platform for the development of many a family. The friendly cross-cultural ambience, the quality schools, the ample playing fields, and the willingness of many talented residents to share their expertise freely or for a small fee. These are the major factors that gave our children an edge over school kids in cramped cities who were known by mere roll numbers and also open to dangerous distractions. As for our youth and talent, compared to the national average, Kansbal churned out a high percentage of brilliant students as well as all-rounders, often both rolled into one. This was due to the encouragement given by the schools to both academic excellence as well as extracurricular activities. The post-noon session in Montfort School was dedicated to outdoor activities and games.
Absolutely.
When it comes to co-curricular activities, Montfortans excelled in debates and dramatics, dance, music and inter-school competitions. Many of our students reached the finals of the National Student Science Seminar in Delhi. It was a red letter day for Kansbal when two of them won the first prize at different years, of course, in the senior and junior levels. Now coming to my daughter and son. Both of them are cosmopolitan in outlook, like most Kansbal youth. It is thanks to the healthy melange of cultures that go to make Kansbal society. Soon after completing her BCom and MBA, my daughter was given away in marriage to a software engineer from Singapore, where she took up her first job. Today, she is the mother of two live wire kids, a daughter 14 years and a son 9 years. Settled in Singapore, she has opted for home management after giving up a lucrative job with IBM. That was 4 years after marriage, when her first child was on the way. My son graduated as a civil engineer, worked for 2 years as an engineering consultant with NPCIL, and then realized his dream of joining L&T ECC, which he considers to be the foremost construction organization in India, by way of competence, clout, and scale of operations. A happy father of a daughter aged 11 and son aged 6 years, he is working overtime in Meerut these days, busy with brick and mortar, planning and execution of an elevated rail corridor package for NCRTC. There were also opportunities beyond the home front for academically qualified or otherwise talented ladies. They could start their own ventures or find teaching jobs in Kansbal's schools. Realizing this chance to teach, my wife, an economics graduate, decided to first acquire a B.Ed degree, which she was able to do through Loreto College, Calcutta. However, during her 1 year full-time B.Ed course in Calcutta, we had to leave our cute little 2-year-old daughter with my parents in Bombay. It was a tough year of traumatic family separation for all three of us. Financially too, I was strapped for cash, as 60% of my salary went towards her college, hostel and other expenses. It left me scrounging for every penny. My residing in Kanswa was very helpful. I managed to survive on a pittance, thanks to the Malayali mess, the subsidized lunches in the works and in the club, and occasional high teas and free meals at the homes of friends and colleagues. For all the trouble that we went through, the gain was indeed worth the candle. My wife joined Montfort School as geography teacher in 1981. In the very first year, she had to shoulder the onus of preparing her students for the Class 10 ICSE board exams. That year also was the first time that the school was sending up its maiden batch to appear in the board exam. The result was a satisfying 100%, and she continued teaching for 17 years. Well respected by parents, staff and students, her interest extended beyond teaching to good housekeeping, gardening and learning exotic culinary skills such as North Indian and Chinese cuisine, as also cake and wine making. These she picked up from her wide range of friends. Her well-organized life in Kansahal, which included teaching in one of the best schools in Orissa, ended abruptly when I was transferred to Calcutta office. Over to you, Anupam.
Your take on Utmal L&T, please.
Okay. Three German firms, namely GHS Foyt and Coppers, founded Utmal in 1960 with L&T as a minor partner. Production commenced in 1962. Gradually, the Germans transferred their holdings to L&T, which in 1966 gained control of this heavy engineering factory, the largest in Orissa, in the private sector. After initial teething troubles, Utmal turned the corner in the early 70s towards profitability. In 1982, Utmal, which was by then L&T's wholly owned subsidiary, merged with L&T and became known as L&T Transvaal Works. From the outset, Utmal placed equal emphasis on productivity-based manufacture on the one hand, and on the other hand, planned meticulously to enhance the quality of life of the residents through creation of a model township.
Absolutely.
The onerous task of township building and its maintenance cost ran into crores of rupees annually. Several facilities had to be created and continuously added to, as also meticulously maintained. These included providing hundreds of living quarters for employees, providing round-the-clock water supply to the township, and building schools for children, including underwriting the cost of education. Other facilities comprise laying and maintaining roads and road furniture within the colony, running a bus service of several trips to Rourkela, the nearest town, planning and execution of landscaping and beautification of the township. Since it was operating in a developing area in a developing state, Utmal also met the corporate social responsibility, though it wasn't a statutory requirement those days. All these needs were arranged for and supervised by the company's dedicated facilities planning department and estate department, which included horticultural wing to see to the ecological balance and greening of Kanspa. Far removed as it was from the national mainstream, Utmal had to surmount the problems of isolation and logistics. These comprised difficulties in attracting skilled officers and workers, as also delay in procurement of materials for the shops and the dispatch of finished goods to the customers because of the absence of good roads in those times. Yet, despite the drag on finances caused by continuous infrastructure creation, township maintenance and logistical drawbacks, Utmal L&T were above average paymasters, which explains why many who left Transvaal returned to the fold. That was because Utmal followed a policy of re-recruiting capable employees with good bona fides who had left the company and wished to return. In fact, several employees have rejoined Utmal after a brief separation, which speaks well not only for the company but also for the residential attractions of the township. Some of the returnees have reached the highest echelons of the management. The company also encouraged employees to take up multi-purpose social and welfare services beyond the call of duty, such as Lions Club activities, organization of blood donations, eye camps, large-scale afforestation, and cultural interaction with nearby townships. Even family members were drawn into participating in these activities where possible. Over to you.
The Utmal L&T township through your eyes. Tell us about your impression of the people, the society and the lifestyle then.
In our days, Kanswal community was a well-integrated multicultural society. Obviously, it had a good density of Orias and Adivasis, but Utmal also added to the cream of talent by drawing from the near and far corners of the country. There was an air of camaraderie among the residents, for they were largely employees of the same company. There was a wealth of talent among the gents and the ladies, such as singers, orators, choreographers, as also those skilled in the fine arts and home sciences, such as drawing, painting, fashion designing, and handicrafts. Not only could they themselves perform professionally, but were ever willing to teach or train others. In addition to the North and South Colony Club, there were several cultural groups such as Uttar Jyoti, Milani, Gunjan, Andhra Mandali, Malayali Samajam, Mahila Samiti, Kanswal Kala Kendra, and so on. They celebrated landmark occasions as also regional and national festivals on a grand scale. There was gaiety everywhere during the celebration of the popular festivals at community pandals. I recall with nostalgia the Prabhat Fairies and the community langars, the Satyajatras, Christmas carol singers, and the annual Ayyappa elephant procession, to name a few. Christmas and Diwali particularly was open house. The doors of most families were open to residents for social interaction and exchange of sweets and savory. Dozens of families used to visit our home during Christmas and New Year to offer greetings and view the scene of the birth of Jesus in the form of the Christmas tableau. Mr Swami was the architect of our Christmas celebrations at home. She would be ready with home wine and Christmas cakes to serve visitors on the occasion. As for entertainment, the periodic open-air movies were a grand occasion to favor an evening out. TVs and mobile phones had yet to disrupt the social evenings and get-togethers. I cannot forget the annual cricket match between our Calcutta and Kanswal colleagues, the I-Day and R-Day flag hoistings, and the smart march past by our Montfort School and primary school children, with the incumbent CEO or one of the executives taking the salute. I would also mention the enjoyable vernacular skits and plays at our open air theatre, the Parents' Day extravaganzas, the extended Utkal Divas festivities, the unique chow dances and unisex jatras, various annual sports meets, and not the least, Kanswal's breathtaking flower shows. These flower shows vied with the best in the country and exhibited the gardening skills of Kanswalites. In fact, Utmal offered employees monetary incentives to build compounds around their houses and engage a Mali to tend to their kitchen gardens.
Yeah.
As for social modes, colleagues and Kanswalites maintained impeccable social decorum. People greeted one another spontaneously, and children addressed adults as uncle, auntie, dada and didi. But never was there any dadagiri. Yet, should there be any high-handedness, misdemeanor or corrupt practices, the company came down with a heavy hand on such miscreants. In fine, Kanswal was a throbbing township with a serene ambience where good neighborliness was the common strain. Joys and sorrows were shared equally. If death or any tragedy touched the family, several families around would also be steeped in mourning. At times, a pall of gloom would descend upon the entire township, as happened in the case of rare accidents or the demise of well-known local personalities. All these events and joyful happenings were, of course, welcome guests for the new staff columns of Kanswal cover. Of course, the House magazine also survived on the innumerable contributions in the form of articles, sketches, jokes and cartoons contributed by colleagues themselves and family members.
Absolutely.
Yes, Anupam.
Who were the larger-than-life figures from Kansbal who may have inspired you? And what are the life lessons that you picked up, if any, during your long 25-year sojourn here?
Almost all the senior executives in Utmal were stalwarts in their field. They were inspirational figures. There was plenty that one could learn from them, and I did. From the way they dealt with crisis situations to motivating team members through diligence, discipline and personal good example. From Mr. K.K. Vaidya, for example, I imbibed the nuances of writing skills, the importance of staying focused and keeping abreast of news through reading and listening. Mr. Chengappa was not just an unforgettable character, but a close friend who helped me venture into photojournalism. Most of my life's lessons were learnt largely from the people of South Colony. I admired the inner strength of certain modest colleagues who were almost self-effacing. Without dropping names, I would like to doff my cap at an ever-cheerful colleague who camouflaged with a smile his many personal problems which few were privy to. He was highly people-oriented and helpful, so much so that close friends called him Ram Avatar. Kanswal winters could be frigid, with the temperatures dropping down to 7 degrees and below. My salams to those colleagues who went beyond the call of duty to render honorary service to the community in administrative capacity, such as office bearers of the clubs and the cultural groups. I would particularly mention Utmal Multipurpose Service Cooperative Stores and the Credit Society. These were manned by elected employee representatives who, with the company's commendable support, protected families from exploitation by unscrupulous local traders as well as greedy moneylenders. I have also admired many a co-worker whom I have interviewed for the Meet Your Colleague column. I have listened to their checkered careers, the odds that they had faced in life, and still manage to pull themselves up by the bootstraps, to carve a niche for themselves in the community. Not only did they hold good jobs, but also earned the respect of peers, raised happy families, and proudly witnessed the children being well placed in life, indeed much better than themselves. I salute the Gabriel brothers, the teachers of Montfort School and the primary schools, who work with zeal to educate our children and shape their characters to prepare them for a place in the sun. May their pride grow and flourish. Yes, Anupam?
That was wonderful. Listening to, such a wonderful narrative about Kansbal. Any concluding remarks? Any message you would like to give to audience of Kansbal Radio?
Yes, I would like to end on a philosophical note. According to Lord Buddha, how we are reborn depends on our karma. Hence, if I am resurrected, hopefully as a biped and not as a quadruped, I would like to be placed as a human being in Kansbal of 70. I want to relive the youthful quarter century of my life there, reaching out to more people to make life more interesting for them and improve their quality of life and mind. And finally, I thank you and the Kansbal radio team for helping me to air my views. Here's wishing you all and our listeners too a happy COVID-free New Year. May the year 2021 brim over with good health, prosperity and peace for all. May God bless us all. Au revoir, auf Wiedersehen, and Arrivederci till we meet again.
Thank you so much for being on our show.
Yes.
Thank you.
You're welcome. It's my pleasure.
After that journey back in time with Kansbal Yadein, it's time to say that this episode is brought to you by the combined efforts of the Compare team, the technical team comprising Muhammad Ali, Vikas Sharma and Sanjay Raut in coordination with the core admin team. Goodbye. Stay tuned.